Magandang araw, ako po si Sir Ariel, ang ALS lover ng Edtech Unit. Narito po ako para sa isang napakagandang balita at upang magpaalala na ang kinabukasan ay mas gaganda at uunlad kung ang lahat ay patuloy na mag-aaral. Sa edukasyon sa ating bansa, tiyak na walang maiiwanan sa pag-abot ng mga pangarap. Kaya naman ang Department of Education ICT's Educational Technology Unit at Alternative Learning System Task Force ay nagtutulungan sa pagkakaroon ng ALS Tech Empowerment Program upang maihatid ang excellent quality education sa ating mga ALS learner and teachers. To easily deliver the lessons from the modules and other references, we will provide tablet PC as part of the DepEd computerization program to all ALS teachers and orientation on the use of these packages. To deepen the pedagogical use of information and communications and technology in delivering instructions, there are training workshops on the use and curation of open educational resources or OER, Google and Microsoft productivity tools, creation of video lessons using PowerPoint presentations and KineMaster, and on ebook or e-magazine development. To create an avenue for remedial lessons that is open to all learners, teachers, and parents, we will have the ETUlay free online tutorial and mobile ETUlay, where we will visit remote schools to feature the best practices of our ALS teachers and learners. Sa mga out-of-school youth and adult, laging tatandaan na may pag-asa upang makapagpatuloy sa pag-aaral. May ALS para sa inyo. Ang edukasyon ay para sa lahat. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.
Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICT's Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del B. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Hello, learners! Happy Choose English Day! I am Tutor Jamie and I will be guiding and sharing knowledge on creative nonfiction. So get ready as we amplify the levels of our imagination and use it in writing literary pieces in our most creative way. We are now in the 4th week of Quarter 3 in creative nonfiction. And last week, we worked on analyzing the elements of factual or nonfiction texts which aid us to realize how such are essential in writing our non-fictional text. It was intimidating, I know, yes, but we have conquered our fear and now ready to take on the next challenge in our writing journey. Yeah. And for today's ETUlay session, we are going to prep ourselves with our mind, body, and soul as we begin to finally write our personal experiences through a story. Like just building our own dream house, after finding the best place to settle, we begin by planning. A good planning will save us our problems brought about neglecting the very objective of preparing. In the case of writing, we begin planning by drafting. And so our lesson for this afternoon is to how to draft a short piece using the literary conventions that we have already learned in our previous weeks. Okay, yeah. So before we begin or before we go through our lesson or our session for today, let's do again a cracking of a code. No, so again, we do this. You already know this, yung mga nakasama ko last time, the first time I used this on ETUlay. We already know this, so all you have to do is to substitute the numbers for the letters, no, corresponding, and then my clues will help you get the right code. And then you just have to answer by putting in your comments on the comment section. Ayan. So mapabilisan lang po ito. So we begin. The code is 20, 15, 14, and 5. Our clue is mood or feeling of a literary piece. So what do you think is the correct answer or the code? Let's crack it. What is 20? What is 15? And then what is 14? And what's 5? So I'm waiting for answers right now. Thank you for coming in. I see Mark Acosta's answering tone. How about the others? Good afternoon to everyone. Jemvel Barrera said tone. Michael Verdict Kaliha, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Tone din. So let's see the correct answer. Tone, correct. Good job. Thank you, Sir Ariel. Your answer is correct. Next is 19, 5, 20, 29, 14, 7. Sayang MECQ ngayon sa Manila, so walang loto eh. Para ako nagbabasa ng combination ngayon. So let's see the clue. Time and place which works together with the atmosphere of the story. So what do you think is the correct answer? So thank you for coming in. So ano po kaya ito? So 19 is letter S and then 5 is E. And then we have a double 20 which would be letter T. Silang dalawa ulit. Now we have Daiseri Anyo Nuevo saying setting. Edward Millar said setting. Let's see if it's setting and it is setting. Yan, good job. You're getting a hang of it to sa cracking the code. Good job. Now, let's see the next one. 16, 15, and 22. Dali lang to. It's just a 3-letter word. But let's just say that it's actually an initialism. No? It's an acronym or an initialism. So what do you think? The clue is we use this to tell in whose eyes is the story being narrated. Yan. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mark Acosta, Jemvel, Barrera. Ayan, POV. Yung iba kaya, baka iba yung sagot. Is it POV? Yes, it is POV. So, this stands for point of view. Ayan. Tama rin si Sir Ariel. Next, we have 20, 15, 16, 9, and 3. And the clue, the central idea or subject where a writing piece is based. Yeah, so what is the correct answer? So be careful with the substitution of the numbers with the letters. Minsan nakakaduling, no? Jenvel Barrera got it first, and then Mark Acosta, Mr. Kaliha said theme. You may want to review your answer. Sir Ariel said topic. Aiden Noah Aidan said topic. Is it topic? It is topic. No, so it's the central idea or the subject of the story or the writing piece that we are working. Either it's a poem, an essay, a short story, a narrative, or any literary piece. There we go. We have 1, 21, 4, 9, 5, 14, 3, and 5. Medyo mahaba-haba. So I'll give you more time here. And the clue is usually the recipient of the intended message of a presentation or piece. Ano kaya yan? So what do you think is the correct answer? Sino kaya ang unang makakapagbigay ng answer? Si Barrera ulit, si Jenvel ulit. Audience. Aiden Noah Aidan said audience. Mark Acosta, Mr. Kaliha, Christopher Sinon, Gole Cruz, audience, audience. And is it audience? Sir Ariel said audience. It is audience. Ayan. Minsan, nung chine-check ko yan, dino-double check ko kasi baka mamali ako ng spell. No? Okay. Do we have more? We don't have more, but this is who you are if you have cracked all the codes correctly. So what is this? 7, 18, 5, 1, and 20. You are? Just fill in the blanks. You are audience. Audience pa rin nakikita ko. Yes, you are great, no? So if you have cracked everything, all the codes that I have given, you were great. If you haven't, then we can do better next time, no? So we'll do more of this cracking of the codes. So the correct answer is great. Ayan. So thank you very much for all the learners who have participated in that activity. So we move towards our lesson, and that would be the draft of a short piece using literary conventions. That's for week 4. And at the end of this lesson, we are expected, so isasama ko yung sarili ko, no? We are expected to write a draft of a short piece using studied literary conventions. So the literary conventions that we are talking about here are the ones that we have already discussed and we have already learned during our first week of creative nonfiction, as well as those that we have discussed during creative writing, no, last sem. So all of those pieces we will put in together, and then we will start to finally do our draft. Ayan. So we begin with doing this learning task. So I have here no you can actually do this, and then you can take a picture and then send it as a picture on the comment, no. I think we can do that, but if not, okay lang naman, we can do that again next time. So using a concept map, write the words that can be associated to writing a draft. So any word that you can actually associate with when you hear the expression or the term writing a draft. So I can do a concept map. I actually have prepared a concept map, no, prior to this one. But if you would want, I would like to encourage everyone to type in on the comment section any words. So instead of working on a concept map, you can actually put in your ideas or any word that you can relate to writing a draft or a draft. So you can just type it in there. So tapos I'll call it out. Ayan. So I have prepared a concept map based on writing a draft. So sabi kasi any word that you can relate when you say writing a draft. So let's have it here. So I have coined step 1 in writing. Although it's not a word, it's my expression. And when I think of a draft, I always think of it as something that is used to prepare or to plan on a project, on a writing project. Okay? Also, we can coin topic. Syempre, when we are doing a draft, no, we can the one thing that we have to work on there would be the thinking of a topic for our draft or for our story or for our writing project. Then we can also think about the genre. When we talk about topic, we can also think about the genre that we would like to use to present the topic or the story that we have in mind. We can actually use a poem, an essay, no, any other genre, personal essay, kasi non-fiction yung pinag-uusapan natin, no? Pag fiction, marami. Ganun din naman sa non-fiction. However, most of the time we are used to defining the genres of fiction. And then we can also coin structure and elements, speaking about genre. And then, of course, ideas. No, when we are writing a draft, we are actually thinking about ideas or topic, synonymous to topic. And then when we have ideas and we're about to write a draft, we normally outline our ideas, or simply we can um, relate writing a draft and direct it to ideas. Okay, there. So I have another concept map. This one is simpler. No, so I have two. I have coined two, and it's actually pre-writing and planning, which is the center or the basic idea of our lesson for today. When we say writing a draft, it's mostly about pre-writing and planning. It's the beginning of our project. No, kaya nga sabi ko kanina, step one. No, so as mentioned earlier, when I reference it to like when you build your dream house, of course you start with a lot of logistical aspects. No, you find a place where you want to settle, and then after that you begin to visualize what your house would like to be, or how it would look like, and then you do it by making a draft, no, and then you can actually if you want it like that, how it looks like, if you want to have a garage and all. So you do it with a draft, and then you ask for help from like an architect or an engineer, so that they can put in their professional suggestions, your professional take on your draft. Yeah. So um next learning task is that using the related words on the concept maps that I have shown you. Uh, let's use you can either use one or you can use both, no, concept map that I have prepared, and then create your own understanding of drafting in writing, and then comment your answers on the comment section. Yan. So hintayin ko po yung inyo, no, it's simple lang, something that you understand about drafting, or your orientation about drafting. Nothing much, nothing too technical. No, I just want to know what your thoughts, what you understand about drafting. Yan, you can just type it in. Again, good afternoon to everyone, both learners and uh, teachers as well. I'm very happy that you are with us today. You are with me today. Ayan. So while I'm waiting for your comments or for your concepts, your understanding of what draft is, let me show you mine. Yeah. Hindi ba kanta yun? Parang let me show you mine. Yeah. So this is what I coined with what drafting is, or how I understand it, by using the words that I have used on my concept map. No, so learners, you can actually do it this way in answering most of your modules. No, but also you can be creative. Hindi ako ganun ka ano but you can be more creative with your answers. So for me, writing a draft is the first step in the writing process, wherein topics can be considered and decided on how it can be presented through mapping our ideas in an outline. So basically, what I concentrated, the words that I used would be the first step in writing process, the topics, and then deciding on how it could be presented. I'm actually talking about the genre and the structure that you would want to write your draft or your work, your project with, and then mapping our ideas through an outline. No, nowadays yung outline does most of the learners are not really used to working on an outline, but if I may give my personal suggestion, I really encourage especially my students to work on an outline when they are writing any literary piece or any kahit simple essay lang yan. Kasi outline really works. Whether it's a topic or a sentence outline or any other kinds of outline, it really helps in organizing the idea. So, advocate ako ng paggamit ng outline. Okay? There. So, there is always a question when we work on a writing project, no? Where to begin. And this is when I coined this question, I remember one character from a favorite movie of mine, no? And I hope you also share the same preference for this movie. This is the same question na sinabi ni Bilbo Baggins when he is trying to begin his story, and the name or the title of his story actually is There and Back Again, A Hobbit's Tale by Bilbo Baggins, no? um Yan yung una niyang that's the first question that he had. Well, not really first. um he was, if you have watched the movie, no, the Fellowship of the Ring, he began with setting the some elements of his story, and he set the setting, he set the time, he set the age, and then he also set the place where he wants to establish the story. Yeah, tas tsaka niya sinabi yan, where to begin, no? Tapos this is actually I cannot forget this kasi this is Lord of the Rings. The series is actually one of the best movies that I have watched. Parang paulit-ulit ko yata yung pinanonood, and I don't get tired of it, no? Tapos this also this is pinili ko tong example because this, although it's a movie, what the character of Bilbo Baggins is working on is actually a travelogue. It's actually a story of his journey, one of his journey. Kaya nga very click yung kanyang title, There and Back Again, A Hobbit's Tale by Bilbo Baggins. But the question stays, where do we begin when we draft, or when we try to work on a project, a writing project? Are we Bilbo Baggins? Are we like him na when we set our pens, hindi na tayo makatigil, dire-diretso na tayo, and then that's our output? Or are we that the first timers who needs to be guided in working on a literary piece, or in working on a writing project? So in either way, I would like to impart to you some considerations in writing a draft for nonfiction writing. Kasi we begin with doing a draft. No, we always begin with doing a draft on a scratch paper or on a notebook or anything. Basta we do a draft. You can also do it on your computer. No, use your sticky notes. I'm really fond of working on my sticky notes. Ayan, kasi pwede ko siyang, mabilis ko lang siyang ma-access. Ayan. Now, you might ask, pareho lang yan ng fiction writing, ng paggagawa ka ng story. Yes, you are actually correct. They are just the same. However, we have to make these considerations because with fiction, it's really just yung common na. But this time, we are working on a story wherein the events really happened. Non-fiction. Kasi pag fiction, it's really just products of our imagination. Pero pag non-fiction kasi medyo you have to do a lot of things there. So we begin with this one. So the first is that you have to identify your topic. When you identify your topic, you have to also have these considerations. Later po. I'm being, kinukulit ako ng aking punso. Ayan. So, the first one would be in identifying your topic, you have to consider accuracy and credibility in your work. It's a must. So, why? Kasi nonfiction nga. It has to be factual. Your work has to be based on facts. It has to have happened or really happened, and it has to be based on truth, no? And how you do that, you do research. Yung research ba, Tutor Jamie, parang ano lang, sa Google lang, doon ka lang mag-research? Not really. You can do that, of course, for some technical aspects. If you need to research on technicalities, no, technical terms, yes, you have to do that. You can also consult books as references. But research also includes, in this case, research also includes you asking questions of from like experts, no? I have an example later I will show you. Ayan. And then also determine your target audience. For whom is your story? Para kanino tong ginagawa mong writing project? Is it for your age group? Is it for your family? Is it for Filipinos only? Is it for students? Is it for teachers? Whoever. Just determine your target audience. Why do we need to determine the target audience when pagtapos naman na ako sa writing project ko, it can be seen by almost everyone, especially if I post it on social media. Yes. However, when you determine your target audience, it actually helps you develop your story. Kasi when you determine your target audience, for example, if your target audience would be students, the language, the diction, the theme would all depend on your audience. So sila muna yung isipin natin. Okay? There. I will explain later kasi yung mga susunod na considerations kasama din yun dun. And then list possible theme, tone, and motive. So when you identify your topic, you put in all these considerations, no? Think of the theme. Would you want it to be about family? Would you want it about valuing life, valuing health, valuing friendship? What theme would you want would you want your target audience to learn or know from your writing project? Okay, there. So next we have outline your story and output. Ayan na, narinig nyo naman yung outline. I understand that some of our learners today are, kasi nga they are not used to working on an outline, hindi katulad ng mga kapanahunan natin na talagang outline, no? I understand some may think na you don't really need this much, no, especially if you are thinking, but I think I should differ. I should disagree. I think that if you are a first time writer, you really need to use outlines for your story. It will help you organize your ideas, no? And minimize yung pabalik-balik ka when you are doing your work. Ayan. So use outlines to organize your thoughts. Yan, sinabi ko kanina pa. And include elements that are applicable to the preferred genre. So if you have decided that you would want to put to work on a personal essay, you have to use the structures, the elements that are of an essay. So yung mga elements ng essay, you have to practice and apply that. If you want to punta tayo halimbawa ng fiction, if you want to work on it on a poem, no? So if you want to put it like in a poem, so you have to consider the elements of a poem. So ganun lang. You decide on what genre you would want to present your story, and then you consider all the elements or the necessary elements for that genre. Okay, so for example, in if your genre would be a story, a narrative story, you would have to work on your characters, your plot, your theme, your message, and all of those jazz. Okay? Next to consider would be use the learned styles, elements, and techniques. Lahat ng pinag-usapan natin from creative writing nung first nung last sem, and then yung from week 1, lahat 'yon, yung analysis, yung elements, everything. It has to be used, no? Hindi naman actually lahat. No, let me correct myself. Hindi naman actually lahat. You can just choose what appeals to you and what would fit to your project, and then use it effectively. Okay? So, what are the considerations here? All I have to say is that you have to write, and write some more. So, sulat lang ng sulat. Yun ang kagandahan sa draft. Everything that's in your mind, you can write it all down. You can just jot it all down. Nothing will stop you, no? Kahit minsan nga, I remember my notebook kung saan-saan lang nakasulat, no? Tapos kung ano-ano lang yung nakascribble, but everything will all work simultaneously and harmoniously when you begin to work on your draft. The fourth consideration that we have to think about is impart dialogues and other conventions if necessary. This is actually in reference to number 3. No, so you have to apply the conventions that you have learned, the figures of speech, those figures of speech that we normally use or we are used to working on or to apply on our literary pieces. What else? The dialogues, no, especially if you are working on a narrative story, no, so you have to use them kasi that's the very reason why we try to learn them in order for us to use them. Okay? And they will be of great help. So, consider your target audience. Yan yung sinasabi ko earlier, that it's really important that you target or you know your audience, because when you start to know or when you start to determine who your audience is, it will normally it will all depend on them. Well, what's the reason behind that? Well, basically they are the ones who are going to consume by reading your work. Diba? Sila yung magbabasa eh. Diba? And you can actually pertain to yourself as one of the audiences. Diba? So, you have to consider them. Okay? So, kasi when you have targeted your audience, when you already determine your audience, you would know what language you are going to use. Are your target audience by women? Kung women, you would have to use languages and diction that are really for women or are understandable by women. No? Na parang salita pa lang alam na ng mga babae. No? So that para ma-incorporate mo siya sa dialogue, and it would be effective in channeling your ideas and your message, no? Yon. But also we have to consider other people as well. Next consideration would be think of possible titles for your of your piece. I always struggle with reminding my students to always put in titles for their work, for their writing tasks. Kadalasan they would just submit na the essay itself and then there would be no title. I would always like to point out to them that writing a title actually makes or breaks the whole essay. That's my opinion, no? And also, I would like to refer it to when you don't write a title for your work, it's like giving birth to a baby and you don't give a name to that baby. Parang ganon. No? So, parang you created something and then you don't give a name to it. That's the whole, that's part of creating, giving a name or label label talaga, to a creation. Kasi it's something that you have created eh. It's something of your, originally yours, di ba? So, always think, consider a title, no? Uh, the considerations here would be, etong tatlo, list down possible titles for your piece, no? Kahit ilan, walang problema. Again, it's a draft, no? And then consider the content, of course. It has to have relation to the content. And most importantly, it has to be catchy. It has to get the attention of your readers. Lagi nating naririnig yan with our teachers, with our literary teachers, because it works. No, isang basa mo pa lang sa title, it's already there. Meaning um it will help you get your audience's interest and ideas. No, there. So, and we have the last consideration, which would be read your draft. No, all these considerations are really important when you are doing your first writing project. You have to read your draft. So it has to be read aloud. So you do it. You face, you use a recorder. Ako, I normally do. I use a recorder and then I read it. I read it and then next sa susunod I listen to my record. Tapos most of the time I find faults to that recording. Tapos tsaka ko siya babaguhin. And then you can also ask others help, no? Let them see your draft and then you take suggestions. Always be open to criticisms. Uh, to constructive criticisms, no? Oh, kaya kahit anong criticism at ano pa rin 'yun, puna pa rin 'yun. And it's essential for your work, no? It will help your work. And of course, you can also sleep on it. Binanggit ko to last week that when you write, it's a good practice that you sleep on it. Pero don't overdo. Baka mamaya meron kayong due date tapos sabi ni Tutor Jamie, magtulugan daw namin. That's not what I meant, ha? What I mean is, after you have created your draft and you have finalized it, you put everything there. Put it aside and then you do something else, or you can sleep or ano, and then check it again the next day, and then I guarantee you'll find a lot of things to work on, and then from there you can continue with your draft or with rewriting and correcting all other ideas. Then here's another question: now what? Diba? Parang, we already uh, noted all your considerations, Tutor Jamie. Now what? Now we draft. Okay? Now we draft. So, another learning task before I go there. I actually have a sample here. This is my own example for considering all uh, uh, the ones that we discussed, the considerations. And at first it was really hard for me to think of a topic, no, kasi something that is factual and something that is non-fiction eh. So I really need to look deeper into my experiences. I thought na sabi ko about pandemic, parang lahat na lang yata ng pinag-uusapan ngayon in class is about pandemic. So baka magsawa naman. Sabi ko, love life, masyadong common na, no? Napag-uusapan na yan sa social media. So I came up with this one. Ayan. So you can also use this graph if you are going to start with your draft, no, this outline or this table, no. You can also use outlines, but this one is something that it was instructed on your module, so I used it na lang. So I have 3 columns here. I have the areas and then what to do and then what to write. So for my topic, the topic that I have is to what to do, kasi the question is what to do. So I put there, I want to advocate on women's reproductive health issue like myoma, no? Kasi for some of the teachers out there, no, so some of us may be aware of this one. We have to be aware, okay? And also dun sa mga female learners natin, yan. So what do I want to write? If this is what I want to do, what do I want to write? So I want to write my hysterectomy procedure. So I have undergone hysterectomy operation last year, no? Wala pang 1 year kasi it happened in July 2020. Yes, it was during pandemic. So this is a very good this is my own yon. So we have the target audience, which is to inform what do I want to do with my target audience. I want to inform everyone, especially women, about this topic. So what do I want to write? Um, Hysterectomy procedure, and I would like to address it to women, especially my age group, no, yung and my those women who are like me na who has jobs, and sometimes we neglect our health kasi super dami natin ang ginagawa. Ayan. And then how about the theme? What do I want to do? I want my readers to realize the value of health among women, no? And then how do I want that to be channeled? I will be writing and have this theme like knowing and understanding one's body, specifically on reproductive health, no? So dyan ako mag-start. I can actually write other things there, kaya lang hindi kasya sa presentation. And then tone and motive. So present in an informative and empathetic manner. Why informative? Because this is something of a scientific base kasi to eh. It's health, no? So here I understand that I will have to do research aside from the information that I got from my kita ka ate from my doctor, from my OB-GYN, no, that time. Something na hindi ko alam when I was not, I am not aware. Tapos nalaman ko na. So I have to be informative. But then, I was very emotional that time. My whole being is affected physically, emotionally, syempre financially din. So I have to write in an empathetic manner then, kasi I want my readers to empathize and I want my readers to feel what I have experienced para may lesson din sa kanila. Yan. So how do I do that? What will I write? I will write a detailed personal account of the event. Ayan. So yung mga I'm thinking now how to work on that, no? Para mapakita ko sa inyo next week. And then the genre and the type, of course, since I want this to be I want to inform, I want to advocate and inform my mga kabaro ko about this one, I'll make this informative, like a personal essay, no, a narrative essay. Ayan. So there, I will write it in a personal essay. And then the point of view, syempre lalayo pa ba ako? Di syempre sarili ko na, 'di ba? I'll use the first person point of view para more empathetic, more personal, no? Because this is something na every woman should understand. Ayan. So this is how I did my draft for my writing project. So next week, kasi with the module, magkasama ang week 4 and week 5. So next week, we will work on, I will show you how I develop this personal essay. So pag-pray nyo ako na sana matapos ko siya ng maayos. And of course, I would appreciate it if some of our learners and our teachers would provide their own work. Ayan, welcome na welcome po yan. And I would like to end our session today with a quotation from the author of It, the novel, which was adapted into film, yung nakakatakot na clown, Stephen King. Sabi niya, the scariest moment is always just before you start. After that, things can only get better. So do not be scared of working on your draft. Let your notebooks be as dirty as it can with your ink, brought about your pen, and work put your minds, put your thoughts into words. With that, thank you very much for today, and I'll see you next week. Bye!
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan bukas mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa Filipino. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!